Call the city council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Michael Vining. Germaini. Lamore.
Here.
Felder.
Here.
Whitman.
She's excused. Here. I'd ask we all please rise to the invocation, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We have faith and hope in each other and our city. We ask for your guidance in the decisions that are made here this evening for the welfare of this community and all of its residents.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, first item, please.
The first item would be any amendments to the agenda.
Looking at the administration, any amendments?
Our discussion during the work session, we're going to ask that item 2676 be pulled from the consent onto council action, and that the title remain the same, except it will be DTE lighting agreement, singular as opposed to plural.
Looking to move that from the consent agenda to the council action, and rather being agreements to strike the S to be agreement, or one of the items in there is up for today then.
Correct.
Okay. Other items on the agenda from council? Okay, with that, I guess we need a motion. Councilman Lamar?
I'd like to make a motion that we pull item number 2676 from the consent agenda.
Second.
And you want to place it on the council action, is that correct?
And place it on council action. Under council.
Councilman Lamar, supported by Councilwoman Germaini, that item 2676 be pulled from consent agenda and placed on council action as stated. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Michael
Yes.
Vining.
Yes.
Germaini. Lamore.
Yes.
Felder.
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Other items from council? Seeing none, clerk, next item, please.
Next item are any citizen comments not related to an agenda item.
This time, if there's any comments from those present here this evening, there's an opportunity at the beginning of the meeting as well as the end of the meeting. Rules of the chamber as far as time for 3 minutes, but if it's not related to an agenda item, if there's any of those present here this evening wish to make comments, now would be the time to do so. Yes, sir. To the podium, please. Your name and address, please.
My name is Jeffrey
Oh,
Town.
yeah. Thank you. That way the clerk gets it on the recording. Thank you.
My name is Jeffrey Town Campbell. I live at 1128 East Front Street here in the city of Monroe.
Yes.
What else did you want?
Your comments?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, I am speaking today regarding the news that we've been reading about waste management contract. I know for my side of the street, we are missing like every other day or every other week of service that we're not receiving from them. And we have called and have complained numerous times. Well, my husband has. I don't do any of this. So it was reported that you guys want to renegotiate the agreement with the city, or they want to renegotiate the agreement with the city, offering less services like bulk pickup and switching to a special outside container for automated pickup. We once lived in a community that did this, and the experience was miserable. My spouse and I have are property owners and also small business owners here in the city. I cannot think of a single customer who would ever agree to accepting less services and paying for the same price. It's unfortunate that the business conditions have changed, but that should be considered poor planning on waste management. In addition, I believe Waste Management wasn't the lowest bid when awarded the contract, in which it was actually Stevens Disposal, which should have won the contract. If Waste Management cannot honor the bid, which was already higher than Stevens, we would like to ask the city to reconsider Stevens Disposal or another disposal company. We should not be rewarding Waste Management with a disposal. Oops, my bad. We should not be, I lost my spot.
That's okay.
we should not be rewarding Waste Management with a renegotiated contract due to their lack of strategic planning. I believe if it was such a major issue, we would be hearing about it all over the news and it would be much bigger crisis across Michigan. We should not negotiate what was already sold to us. In addition, they have been times where our garbage was not collected as we expected and we need to wait until the next week. We have called several times and this is getting inconvenient and annoying. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Town, for your comments. I know that Mr. Lewis is here. He'll take follow-up at least on the missed opportunities. The presentation was at a session just to give information. When, administration is still looking things over, but we appreciate your comments.
Well, we've
and
noticed
criticism.
that there's only one person that is picking up and driving the truck.
Yes.
Usually there is one or two on the back of the truck, one driving. And in the last probably 3 weeks, there's only been one driving, and he's also picking everything up.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you. And I know administration is going to be getting back with city council here in the near future as we take further consideration of the information received, but also yours as well. Thank
all
you.
right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Other comments from those present here this evening? Seeing none. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is a proclamation.
Thank you. I have a proclamation I'm going to review just briefly because there will be a presentation that's coming later in the month. And the proclamation, just for those here and those watching, is regarding the Learning Bank and the 10th anniversary of the Monroe County Learning Bank. And this proclamation is from it's a privilege from the mayor and the council to be able to give this opportunity to recognize and commemorate their 10th anniversary. The Learning Bank provides great educational services to assist youth and adults in attaining GED or high school diploma and transition to post-secondary training and education. One of the parts, as they went through the information provided, is also had success in including dual enrollment at the Monroe County Community College and other vocational training and enhance their employability skills as well. So they've had over 250 students attain their GED and hundreds more passed online tests, and 600 residents have learned certificates in financial literacy. So the Learning Bank started 10 years ago. When we think about how time flies, but how many people has been impacted within our community. Their mission of the Learning Bank is to provide connections to adult education and jobs. We'll be recognizing and supporting them an activity on February 27th. There's a morning breakfast, but they're also having an open house in the afternoon. I know that there'll be some additional comments from council regarding that opportunity from either myself or Councilman Vining or others about the opportunity to kind of go see, if you haven't been to the Learning Bank and see the successes at their open house. I strongly recommend that you stop over there. It's right there at Winchester and East First Street. It's the old Monroe Bank and Trust small building in the Orchard East. So we'll be recognizing the Monroe County Learning Bank on that day on February 27th and presenting this proclamation as well. So just make sure we have a review for those, and hopefully they'll get some turnout there on the open house. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is public hearing. Item 2672, public hearing, capital improvements program fiscal year 2020 through 2026.
Thank you.
And
At
there
this-
are,
yeah.
there's no comments on
Okay.
file.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll open the public hearing regarding item 2672, public hearing for capital improvement programs fiscal year 2020 to 2026. Any comments from those present here this evening regarding the public hearing for the capital improvements program, the CIP? Public comments? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment this time. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is under council action. Item 2675, building demolition contract award for former Lazy Boy World Headquarters.
Thank you. Mr. Pastu, or I see Mr. Cochran's coming to give us a review on this process and where we are today on this.
Yep, thank you. Honorable Mayor, City Council, Mark Cochran, Assistant to the City Manager and Economic Development Coordinator. Just a brief history. I'm not going to go into the full background on what's transpired with the Lazy Boy site, or former Lazy Boy site, but as we are aware, In November 2019, the city took possession and ownership of the former Lazy Boy headquarters site at 1284 North Telegraph, as well as the associated parcels, in order to implement the sub-area plan that the city completed last year to determine the highest and best use of that 26-acre site. So over the past 6 to 8 months, city administration has been working with AKT Peerless to determine an estimate for the demolition to prepare the way for redevelopment for the site. The original estimates that we had gotten for the environmental remediation and the demolition were about $2 million to $2.5 million. Again, we went after and were approved for about $1.1 million in a loan from the US EPA as well as the Downriver Community Conference to assist with the abatement and some of the environmental work. The remainder of the funds to demolish the structure were to be advanced by the city and to be repaid through tax increment financing after the site is redeveloped. And so with those estimates in mind, AKT Peerless worked with city administration to develop the bid specs, which went out. February 10th, we opened the sealed bids. We received 11 bids. 4 of those were disqualified because they didn't acknowledge one of the addendums. So tonight, city administration is recommending to city council that we award the project to the low bidder, which was Homrich, a Monroe County company based in Carlton, who submitted the low bid at $973,000, substantially and significantly below what our original estimate of $2 to $2.5 million was. We're also asking for about 20% in contingency for this, given the complexity of the building, for a total encumbrance of $1,170,000. About 1/3 of that is for the asbestos and the environmental abatement. The remaining 2/3, about $645,000, is for the actual demolition work to be completed. But we are working with the contractor, Homrich, to try and pack as much of the costs and the work to be in the EPA loan, eligible costs to go in the EPA loan as opposed to the city fronting and advancing those costs. So while Homrich was significantly lower than the next lowest bid, which was about $1.4 million from a contractor in Clare, Michigan, we've reached out. Patrick and his staff and Toby Worrell have reached out, and Homrich is comfortable that they included the full scope of the project in that. And they will be able to complete it within that price range. So we did further reference checks on Homrich as well as past history of work that Homrich has done in the city and feel confident that they're capable to complete the work within the period of time. We do anticipate to have the entire structure down and the site cleared for redevelopment by June 30th of this year to start paving the way for the infrastructure installation as well as the redevelopment that's to come in accordance with our agreement with Great Lakes Opportunity Fund. So Homrich would like to get going right away. We've already scheduled a pre-conference if City Council is to award that contract tonight. That meeting is scheduled for next week. They would schedule a 10-day notice with the state for the abatement and get to work rather quickly and immediately to meet that June 30th deadline.
Wonderful. Let's see if there's no comments for Mr. Cochran.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we award the contract for the demolition and hazardous material abatement for the former Lazy Boy property in the amount of $973,000 with a contingency total of $1.17 million. That the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the contracts and the finance director be authorized to set up any necessary accounts and make any necessary budget amendments.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Nicolangelo, supported by Councilman Felder on item 2675, the building demolition contract award as stated. No further comments. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Nicolangelo? Yes. Vining? Yes. Germaine? Yes. Lamore? Yes. Felder?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
Item is item 2676, Labor Park DTE lighting agreement.
Mr. Pastou, I don't know if there's any other comments. If not,
Motion, I think, actually.
You want to?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion that the DTE agreement for lighting removal be approved in an amount of $18,371.68, and the Director of Engineering and Public Services be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city, and that the finance director be authorized to transfer up to $18,371.68 from the general fund contingency.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lamore, supported by Councilwoman Germaine on item 2676, the Labor Park DT lighting agreements. Any other conversation or comments from council? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Nicoangeli? Yes. Vining? Yes. Jermaine?
Yes.
Lamore?
Yes.
Felder? Yes. Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is the consent agenda, and approval of payments to vendors would be in the amount of $564,867.69. 564867.69.
Thank you. Are there items on the consent agenda council wishes to pull for further discussion? Councilman Michael
I'd recommend that we pull the approval of the minutes of the February 3rd, 2020 meeting.
Thank you. Other items on the consent agenda council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Seeing none? Please call the roll. I'm sorry, yes. Topic first.
We have, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little bit ahead of myself thinking here. So we have the one item. Is there other items on the consent agenda those present here this evening wish to have pulled for further discussion? Seeing no items from those present here this evening?
Your Honor,
Felder.
I'd like to make a motion that all items on the consent agenda not pulled for further discussion be accepted, placed on file, and any resolutions adopted.
By Councilman Felder, supported by Councilwoman Germaine. All items on the consent agenda not pulled for further discussion be accepted, placed on file, resolutions and actions adopted. Clerk, please call the roll.
Nicoangeli? Yes. Vining? Yes. Jermaine?
Yes.
Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
The next item would be approval of minutes of the council meeting held on Monday, February 3rd, 2020.
Your Honor, under page 4 of the minutes, under council comments, there was discussion regarding the strategic planning session, and the reference was made that council had thanked the University of Michigan and the U of M students. Actually, it was EMU and the EMU students. So I'll make a motion that the council comments, item 4, under the February 8th, February 3rd meeting minutes on page 4 reflect changing U of M to EMU were noted.
Support the councilman's motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Michaelangeli, supported by Councilman Felder on the item stated on the minutes that it be corrected that Eastern Michigan University, EMU, be recognized as the students that provide the service. Clerk, please call the roll.
Nicoangeli? Yes. Vining?
Yes.
Jermaine? Yes. Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
I have no further items, Your Honor.
Council comments. Councilman Michaelangeli.
Your Honor?
Councilwoman, it took me for a second here. Councilwoman Vining.
I wanted to make one comment, Your Honor. I don't know how many know about Town Square had an incident the other day. So the store has been closed. And in light of that, the fact that that neighborhood is in a food desert, Oaks of Righteousness is offering rides to anyone who needs a ride to Kroger's Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for as long as the store is closed down. So you can call 734-244-5444. That's 734-244-5444 to schedule a free ride to the Kroger store to do your grocery or any needs that you may have now that the so-called grocery store in the neighborhood is closed down for I don't know how long, or hopefully hopefully the community can take it over and make a real grocery store there. But that's just my opinion. But at any rate, please call Oaks if you need to get to the grocery store. They'll send the church van to pick you up and wait for you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Oh,
I know she has
and
something else
save
she
the
wants to
date.
talk.
Save the date, because I may be presenting the
I
proclamation
hope
that
so.
day. February 27th. There'll be a breakfast to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the Learning Bank. The breakfast is from 7:30 to 9 a.m. at the Opportunity Center at ALCC. Of course, that's located at 120 East Chester Street. The guests who attend that breakfast will have an opportunity to tour the Learning Bank from the hours of 9 to 10 a.m. And then in the afternoon, there'll be an open house at the Learning Bank, 1102 East 1st Street, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So they're doing great work over there. So hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
And that's all I have, Your Honor.
Councilwoman Germaini?
I want to congratulate the 4 officers that received Officers of the Year from the Rotary Club. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Lamore?
Yes, Your Honor, just want to thank Oaks of Righteousness. That's a great offer that they're putting forward, considering their neighborhood's a little bit under siege there. So thank you to Pastor Boone and great work down there. And that's it.
Councilman Felder?
No items this evening, Your Honor.
So I have just a couple of brief items. I appreciate Councilwoman Germain, or Councilwoman Vining on the Learning Bank. It's a great opportunity. Please do come down and tour. Put it on your calendars and also as the information gets presented. So there's a couple items that are coming forward in this month. Of course, February being the African American History Month. I mentioned at the last meeting. I know Councilwoman and I've chatted about opportunities within our community to get some information. There's during the finish of this month, there's 3 opportunities out at the Monroe County Community College. There's a presenter from our local historian, Dave Engel. It's the African American Soldiers in Civil War, and that is on Wednesday, February 19th. It's in the afternoon from 1:30 to 2:30. It's at the Campbell Learning Center and Resource Center. That, as well as the other 2 items I'm going to mention, can be found on the Monroe County Community College webpage. And so give clear directions, make sure you get the right location at the college. There's another item which kind of follows through with some of the previous in relationships with the Native Americans, but there's a panel discussion as well as a presentation on the history of African American relationships with Native Americans. Last opportunity was a month ago. They had a presentation, and some of that started to come into part of our discussion. And I think there was an opportunity to hear from those that have the historical awareness and information. That panel discussion and presentation is on Tuesday, February 25th at 3 in the afternoon until 4. I'm going to correct that because I have a different time that it's actually in the evening now from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on February 25th. And that's in the Warwick Student Service Administration building there, Building A. Last one's a lot of fun. If you haven't been, the opportunity want to hear some really good music is the big gig, the blues concert on Saturday, February 29th. I know that's at the Lazy Boy Center and Meyer Theater. You have to check online, see availability, because that is an item that sells out, and you may be too late already. I hope not. If you have a desire, please call as soon as possible. Some of the items that the first 2 are very informative and educational opportunities to learn and continue to share throughout our community. The other item, I just want to thank council for the approval of the 2 appointments came up. We have a vacancy was on the Citizens Planning Commission for Precinct 2 that did get filled. My apologies, that we usually put the applications into the packets. They didn't get there. I do have those if council wishes to see them, even though it's approved. I think that the 2 members that were, one for the Planning Commission and the other resident for the Traffic Committee, are well known to the council, but if you want some additional information, I have that. My last comment is about an item that we passed on the council action on the demolition of the contract award. I just want to give credit and a lot of recognition to the administration, Mark Cochran and his work in getting, continuing with the others that are part of that committee. I know they meet weekly now regarding the former Lazy Boy site. So demolition is going to move quickly, but they were meeting yet today as they continue to work through that process. It's rewarding to see the work of the council and administration to get it forward here today, that start to see that progress occur here in the next couple months. So thanks to all. With that, I have no other comments. Clerk Treasurer Lavoy.
Comments this evening.
Mr. Pastou.
Your Honor, I just have the one item to send out a note last week with the report for the public safety assessment for us to try and figure a time where we could set aside 2-3 hours to go through the recommendations and talk about all the implications associated with it. And so I don't know if there's if Mondays are good, Saturdays, anything in particular, let me know. If I think in some ways maybe our next the second Monday in March, maybe I think the 9th might be a night to contemplate if that works with everyone's schedule. But is there any preference before I go? Because I'll have Pat Weaver in our office send out some.
Looking at council.
Saturdays are always good.
Saturdays are good. So we'll start with the March date. I know that we've talked and had some discussions already. March is probably a time frame where we really want to get started because there's items to be discussed, and then follow-up's going to occur to get things moving. So Mr. Pastou has at least shared one Monday as an opportunity, but we have met on Saturdays as well, and opportunities to have those discussions. So if I don't hear any dates right now, I think we'll ask Mr. Pastou administration at least start with that date on the 9th, but also look at a couple Saturdays, see what council schedules are. If there's definitely some items of not available, please let Mr. Pastou know so we can get this scheduled as soon as possible. I know everybody's looking at their schedules right now, trying to figure out what a day might be. So
I think
That's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
that would be the 8th then.
It is Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Monday.
It is Monday. Okay.
My preference would be, I'm kind of like Kelly, I think this is going to be a rather detailed and long discussion. I'd rather have it on a Saturday than try to have it, I'd rather be fresh and have the meeting rather than at the end of the day. That's my preference.
Also, while the Mondays work on some of our topics, and then we're leading into sometime, well, it wouldn't be a council meeting that night, but it is at the end of the evening. So looking at the March calendar, of course, 7th, 14th, 21st are the dates. That probably the first three. Otherwise, we're getting close. Clerk Treasurer Lavoy.
So Saturday, March 7th, the City Hall is open and we use some of the rooms for our inspector training because the election is Tuesday, March 10th. So if we could stay away from the 7th, that would be appreciated.
So we're looking at at least the 14th and 21st as options. So if that's a start point, Mr. Pastou, and then we can pull the council, we'll have, please send that out. Good.
Saturdays work for us, or at least work for me. I think it gives us, ample time without we're probably, as council member Iko Angeli, we're usually pretty fresh, and this is going to require our undivided attention and thought. So, if Saturdays are fine. I'll throw out there the 14th and 21st.
What about the 29th of February?
I will tell you, one of the things I put in there is that we're going to give a little overview where we think we're going to be with, in relationship to the DTE settlement. And I think this gives us a little bit more time later in the month. Mr. Sell and I will be presenting anyways. And I think that context is pretty important to have for this conversation. So I think the 14th would be.
Also available on the 29th. I have an MML training.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Yep. So
that's right. Okay. So we'll start with those dates, and then we'll get the communication out to council.
Okay.
Mr. Pastou, other comments?
Anything else, Your Honor?
Very well. Comments from those present here this evening? Any further comments from those present? None. A motion would be in
Motion
order.
to adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Lamore, supported by Councilman Felder to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Angeli? Vining?
Yes.
Jermaine? Lamore?
Yes.
Felder?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.